All right, to calibrate the repeater pump, we have the tubing, a 50 ml syringe, and then our Luer Lock to Luer Lock adapter. To turn on the pump, there's a little switch right here on the side, so I'm gonna flip that on. The numbers right here, it tells you the volume or how much mLs it's pumping out, and then the units is how many bags that you have done so far. This is where you're gonna change the volume. We have our speed. We usually always keep it on medium. And then adjust is right here. We're gonna use that a little bit later. Once you open up your tubing, you have a thicker side and a thinner side. The thicker side is what's gonna go on the blue, the light blue arrow, and then the thinner side goes on the dark blue. So we're gonna open it. And we're gonna pop these little blue pieces in. And then you just kind of feed it around. And then you pop this blue one in, make sure the tubing's all tucked in there, and then you can close it. But you can see our thicker tube is on the left, and the thinner, where we're gonna attach our needle later, is on the right. I attach the tubing to the bag through the port. You always wanna open up this vent so that it allows airflow. So the vent is open. And then we need to prime this line. The line is about 35 mLs, but I usually just change this to 45, and we'll use that to calibrate too. So you hit volume, your mLs, and then volume again, and it'll stop blinking. And I'm also gonna clear this unit, so you're just gonna press and hold the clear units filled to clear that out of there. So it's gonna pump 45 mLs, and then it'll say 1 when we're all done. And I'm just going to attach this to a needle, and I'm gonna insert there so that it can prime the line. Okay, so I'm gonna hit start, and you can see our tubing. And now it's filled 1, it thinks it's filled 1, and we did 45 mL, so our tubing is full, there's no air bubbles or anything in there, and now we can actually calibrate the pump. I took the needle off and I attached the Luer Lock to Luer Lock so that I can attach that to the syringe. Now, as soon as I click start, it will fill the syringe with hopefully about 45 mLs. Usually it goes over, so that's why we have to calibrate it, like it did here. We'll have to do this a few times to make sure it's accurate. So I'm just gonna say this is about 53 mLs. So to adjust the repeater pump, you click adjust, and then we type 53 and adjust again, and that will save it. Now I'm gonna put this fluid back into the bag just with my needle so we don't waste any fluid. I put the fluid back into the bag and I reattach my syringe with my Luer Lock, and we'll push start again. And that is, with the air bubbles, we'll say like 44. Adjust, 44, adjust. All right, I just did it one more time and it put me at 45 mLs, which is perfect. So now actually what the machine says it's pumping out is actually what it's pumping out. I'm gonna take a picture in PK for the pharmacist. All right, I threw away my syringe and I just attached the needle to this end. We're going to change our mLs. So I'm making the hypertonic bolus bags of 150 mLs each. So I'm gonna change my volume to 150. Volume again to save it. I'm gonna clear my units so at the end I can show the pharmacist how many bags I made with these 3 big bags. And we're gonna leave everything the same. You don't wanna change the speed or anything after you calibrate it, otherwise the calibration won't be accurate. I already wiped these off, so I'm going to put my needle in my bag, just like so, and now I can hit start, and it'll spin, and you can see the bag filling up. As you can see, when this stops spinning, my units will change. So I've made 3 bags, 1, 2, 3, and this is a 500 ml bag, so I do have some overfill, and I'm gonna show you how to get all of that out so you can get an extra bag at the end. Okay, we wanna watch this very closely because we don't wanna get any air in here, otherwise our calibration will be off. So I'm gonna push start here at the bottom, and then as soon as this runs low, I'm gonna push stop. right now we can see there's very, very little in the bag, and I stopped it, or I paused it, and it did 60.4 mLs. So now I can switch my bags, over to this full one. All right, I didn't allow any air to get in the tubing or anything. I left my needle right in here because we have to finish this bag. And you always want to tap this just to make sure that there's no little air bubbles. There it goes some. So I always tap that to get all the air bubbles out. But now we have a fresh bag and we can finish the fourth bag there. So I'll push start again and that'll finish it. So it still says we did 3. Once it finishes this one, it'll change to 4. Okay, so far I have 10 bags. There is still some left in this bag, so I'm gonna try to go for an 11th, but for PK purposes, I'm gonna take a picture just like this for the pharmacist to see that I got 10 bags. And then if I get 11, I'll take another picture and just delete the 10 one so they know. Okay, I didn't end up getting the 11th bag because a whole bunch of, it ran out and all the air got in the line. And it wasn't enough. So, it's okay though, I have my picture and I can put a little comment here too. So I have my bags, I have my calibration picture, I have the mLs that I used and how many bags I got, but I'm gonna put a comment and say I only got 10. And then I just have a final picture at the end for the pharmacist to see.